Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Bluegrass Planet Radio, and I'm your host, DJ Delta Dawn, and so glad to be here with you, and I just want to go ahead and tell you right out of the gate that if I sound a little bit if my voice sounds a little bit crackly or a little bit off tonight, I apologize. I've been fighting a cold for the last week, and today is the first, good day I've had in literally a week. So if you can just bear with me as I get through the next few minutes, I would greatly appreciate it. And I hope that you've had a wonderful day. I know that much of our country, except maybe the West Coast, where it's always hot and sunny, in most places at least, has been just crippled and underneath this brutal polar vortex thing that has come down out of Canada. And I'm telling you, I cannot believe how cold it has gotten here in North Carolina. It was 6 degrees this morning when I awakened. I think it's about 19 degrees out there now. I think the high today only got to be 22. The wind was whipping. It was just, we haven't seen weather like this in 20 years. And I know many of you are attesting to the same. I have a friend in Chicago, and she has seen just very, very, very low temperatures. It's unreal what our country is experiencing. So I hope that you are safe, you are out of the cold, that you're not on the roads if you're in, the areas that have received lots and lots of snow, and just not outside unless you absolutely have to be, because it is not the kind of weather to be outside in, to do anything in. So, and if you have pets, I hope you've got them indoors, keeping them safe and warm as well. We have got a great show tonight. We are waiting for our guests to call in, and while we're waiting, I'm going to play a couple songs from their latest album in just a moment, but I do want to give you a little background on our guests. I'm very excited because they are doing some wonderful things in the world of bluegrass music. The IBMA is just crazy about them. They are from the Annapolis Valley of Nova Scotia, Canada. And, when he calls it, I'm going to ask how cold it is there today, because I bet they were warmer in Canada than we were here. But this group is comprised of Allan Spinney, Rick Spinney, Dalrymple, and Darryl, Hebb. And they debuted as a band in 1992, showcasing a tight brother duet vocal style that was immediately recognized for its energetic and distinctive sound. And the cornerstone of their musical identity is the sound of traditional southern-flavored bluegrass music. And, of course, here in North Carolina, in the Carolinas, we know what that's all about, because our region is just steeped in this kind of music. The first-generation bluegrass legends have been an important musical influence, which we will talk with them about that. And yet their music is equally shaped by their personal lives and local heritage. And their latest album is called No Borders, and it has been receiving quite the airplay. It has also, they rang in 2014 with the #1 CD, so it went to #1 on the Bluegrass Unlimited's National Bluegrass Survey for the month of January, and that is huge for them. And a couple of recognizable hits, which we're going to play, which many of you are familiar with. The first single was Grandpa's Way of Life, which is currently #2 on the top 30 songs chart. And fan favorite, I Want My Dog Back. Finally, somebody wrote a song about, she took everything, but I want my dog back. And which it debuted on the same chart just 3 months ago, and it sits at #17 currently. And so we are just thrilled to pieces tonight. Actually, we're not going to have to play any music because they are on the line now. So without further ado, I am very, very pleased and proud to welcome Rick Spinney of the Spinney Brothers. Hello, Rick.
Hey, Dawn. How you doing today?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Oh, well, we're struggling through the airlines right now. We've been traveling from Orlando, trying to get back to Canada. We've had a few cancellations, some diversions, all part of the bluegrass journey.
Oh, yeah. Well, I imagine today it's been a little bit of a logistical nightmare with the weather here in the States being what it is, trying to get back to where you are in Canada, because we have been dealing with this polar vortex thing. And I just have to ask you, what is your temperature there right now in Canada where you sit?
Well, we're actually in Montreal, Canada, so that's more central Canada. The temperature here is probably -11. Of course, that sounds cold for you guys. That's more like 20 degrees, I guess.
Well, you know what? Across the nation, pretty much, with the exception of maybe the West Coast region, people have been experiencing minus and below zero temps with this polar vortex thing that has come down out of your area and beyond. And so I think I had 6 degrees here this morning, which is, we haven't had that in probably 20 years. So yeah, we are with about minus 10 degree wind chill when I awaken. So yeah, we're kind of feeling what you guys deal with in the winter there. So, but if we could ship it back, we would, because you guys are used to it. We're not.
Exactly. I know.
Well, I want to thank you so much. I know that, as you said, you've been traveling most of the day, and for calling in and just being on our show tonight. I also know that you guys have been incredibly busy traveling and touring of late. And so first off, I just want to thank you for being here, and also to wish you a Happy New Year.
Well, thank you so much, and the same to you. You know, this is we appreciate the opportunity to talk to you, and regardless of whether we're traveling or at home, this is all part of the business. It's all part of the connection. It's all what brings the music and the fans together. So we're very honored and certainly appreciate the work that you folks put in spinning the records, and then of course these interviews as well.
Oh, well, the pleasure is all ours, trust me. Well, I have to talk about this incredible CD, No Borders. I must tell you, it's part of my collection now, and I absolutely love it because having grown up in North Carolina, I mean, our state is so steeped in bluegrass and the roots and traditions. We have a lot of bands here, as I'm sure you're probably familiar with, and you know, it's kind of second nature to us. And when I heard your CD for the first time, what I enjoyed about it was that traditional sound. It kind of took me back to those days of old when, you know, I would listen to my grandfather play and just people that I grew up around playing. And I love that about the CD.
Well, you know, we're definitely, we're a hardcore traditional-based band, and you know, we fell in love with, like so many, we fell in love with the sounds of Flatt and Scruggs and the Spinney Brothers in our early years. And, you know, we've made a commitment to continue on with the traditional music, you know, but still add, you know, a new flavor of the newer sound, only, I guess, newer music done in that traditional style. I mean, that is where it is, it's steeped in our tradition as well with that traditional sound. So I don't think you'll hear a whole lot different other than, you know, new songs. You know, we like bringing new songs to the market, and I heard you speaking earlier of those songs like, you know, I Want My Dog Back and Grandpa's Way of Life. I mean, those are just great songs that we're so proud to bring to the listening audience, and yet still staying in that traditional vein.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I think one of the reasons why those two songs in particular are so popular is because people can relate to those songs unlike a lot of other songs you may hear out there, because you know, who has not experienced Grandpa's Way of Life, or in a situation where, you know, when someone gets left and all they want sometimes is just the dog back, you know, so, and so it really does, you know, it lends itself to some very familiar territory for a lot of folks who listen to it. And I have to ask, because I ask fans this all the time, anytime you have an album out and it's getting a lot of airplay and a lot of, you know, positive feedback, do you guys as a band have personal favorites of the songs on it, or is it just kind of like, so many people tell me they're all like children, they're all different, and you all have, you know, a special affinity for each song, but what is the situation with you guys? Do you guys have favorites?
I do, actually. You know, I mean, I fall in love with songs, and, you know, unfortunately, lots of times when you go in the studio, you know, you're hearing the song for maybe a week or two prior to recording. So you haven't had an opportunity to play it for a long period of time. So you record the song, and then you put it into your set list. You know, you start playing it day after day, and you really do. You know, I've become attached to these songs, and, you know, songs on the previous album, the Memories album, you know, songs like Making a Killin', you know, a song written by Carl Jackson. That was one of my favorite songs on that album. And then, of course, on this current CD, we weren't prepared for the popularity of I Want My Dog Back. But that it's not only fun to sing that song, but it is so fun to introduce it. And we kind of throw a little shtick in there before we introduce the song, and that just makes it that's much more enjoyable. But that's my favorite song on the CD.
Well, you know, I have to tell you something. I think in country music as a whole, it's always a running joke, you know, that country music songs are always about leaving and this and that. And we're always joking. I know here in my part of the world, we're always joking about, you know, when is someone ever going to write a song about, you know, I lost everything but my dog. And, you know, it seems like the dog kind of is the focal. And when I first heard this, I could not do anything but chuckle because that's just been kind of something as part of country music. And I was like, well, what do you know? Somebody in Bluegrass finally wrote a song along these lines, and who would have thunk it? It would be a Bluegrass hit, you know? So it's really a fun song, as you say, and I imagine that the shtick that you do beforehand is just absolutely hilarious, and an audience have to love that.
Yeah, well, that really does set the song up, and we're having a lot of fun with it. And you know, that's the great thing about the music. And you know, when you spoke about connecting with songs, and you know, people being able to relate, and that was the same with the Grandpa's Way of Life. You know, I mean, so many people, especially in the age demographic with the audience that we play for in particular, you know, that really touches a spot with a lot of folks. You know, they're familiar with that. You know, the Barlow knife and the Randall knife, those are the two things. I actually had to go online and look up what a Barlow knife was. Of course, being from Canada, didn't realize one of the best, you know, high-quality American-made knives. And I actually spent some time in Texas here a month or so ago and went into a pawn shop in there and found myself a Barlow knife, and I bought it just so that I could have it because of that song.
And I tell you, Texas is probably the best place to buy something like that, because I think if you can't find it anywhere else in the States, go to Texas. They have everything, you know. So it's so true. It's so cliche, but so true. Now, this album is just, like I said, it's one of my personal favorites in my collection, and there's so many songs. I really can't sit here and say, well, I have a personal favorite, because I love all the songs. They all have a different message and meaning, and, you know, and recording an album is so different from getting up and playing in front of a crowd. And what is something that you guys enjoy the most as a band, you know, performing live for folks?
Well, you know, we have identified over the years, I mean, we've been 20 years performing this music, and we have identified that, you know, there's something that, you know, we have the ability to connect with people, and it's just really just being who we are. You know, and now we've noticed, of course, the more that we've traveled south, our accent, you know, draws people to us a little bit more. You know, we're a little bit different in a good way, I hope. But we do have, I think, a uniqueness about our band, about our sound. But really, you know, I think that being able to break down all those barriers that, you know, between the stage, yourself, and the audience. You know, I mean, we are no different than the person sitting in the front row or the back row. We're all part of the same big picture, and we're just so honored to be a part of the music, and the family that surrounds bluegrass music is absolutely phenomenal.
You know, you hit on something there, Rick, that when the first time I went to a bluegrass festival, the one thing that really amazed me most about it was not only the phenomenal musicianship and just immense talent, but the fact that when a group or an artist would finish performing, they would come off stage, and if the festival was held in a big, you know, travel park, they'd go out and mingle and sit down and have dinner with folks and just really have that level of fellowship that you don't get in any other genre of music. And you guys, you've been together 20 years plus. What do you think makes that such a special component of bluegrass music that is not found in any other genre?
Well, I mean, it certainly begins with the music. I mean, I think the music certainly has an element of, you know, closeness, rural type personalities, or something along that lines. I think, you know, when we've always made it a big part of our performances that when we leave the stage, we go to the record table and we stay there the entire day. We do not leave. You know, if people want to, you know, there's lots of people that don't want to come up during the rush after you get off stage. You go over to the record table. There's, you know, a big lineup. We'll stay there until that lineup is gone throughout the whole day and let people just come up on their leisure. And I think that is when people can really, you know, get to know who you are, you know, as a person off the stage, and that's very important. I think, you know, we welcome people to come and chat with us and ask questions, and that's a great part of the music.
And, you know, I think there's one word that sums up bluegrass more than aside from traditional, and that is real. Because, you know, at the end of a performance, I mean, fans of your music can see that at the end of the day, you and your brother and your bandmates are as real as the people watching you perform. And I love that element because I think that's what grabs people no matter the age dynamic, whether you're young or you're old. It's just people really are attracted to being able to just have that, that fellowship and that one-on-one intimacy with their favorite artist. And, and I oftentimes think if more genres of music were like bluegrass, the way bluegrass is designed, my gosh, I can't imagine what it would be like. But it's really, I just love seeing that when I go to festivals and I see that camaraderie. There is, and not only with the fans and the artists, but among the artists themselves within bluegrass. It's nothing to see, two artists collaborating on a project together and it becomes a big hit, and there's so much generosity within this genre, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And one of the things, you touched on it there with the artists. And this is really, goes way back. I feel so blessed. My hero, of course, Earl Scruggs, he would sit down and talk to me. I had the chance a couple times on a couple of different occasions back in 1995 and 1996 when I was in Owensboro, Kentucky for the IBMAs. Got a chance to sit and talk with him on a one-to-one basis. And that's, those are our forefathers that really develop the music, and that's who we learn from, and they're the ones that I think, have a big part in teaching that it's important to continue that on with our fans and with the other musicians as well. And it goes with all of them, Doyle Lawson, Del McCurry, all the guys backstage when we're performing, Third Time Out, those guys, absolutely phenomenal, and just great to be able to sit and talk to those guys. They're on the same level, and that's the great thing about this music.
And there's memories that have been made from you being able to do that you'll carry with you. I know that this coming Saturday in Shelby, North Carolina, they're going to dedicate the Earl Scruggs Center that's here in the state, and that's a big, big deal for our state, but also just for bluegrass music as a whole. And but when you're an artist and you have an opportunity to sit down with Earl Scruggs and sit down with some of these veteran bluegrass performers, there is no compare to that. I mean, the takeaways from that have to be immense.
It absolutely is, and again, to be a part of that and to grow up with that and have that in my life now, and all of us feel the same in the band, to have that in our lives, we are so much richer to be able to experience that and have people, feel the same way. I think that's so important. I'm absolutely thrilled about that. And, I want to make mention to North Carolina, please, that is my favorite state, my two favorite, of course, Earl Scruggs, Michael Jordan, my two all-time lifetime heroes. My goodness.
Well, being a Carolina person, having been born and raised here, of course I am a Michael Jordan fan, Carolina Tar Heel girl. I mean, you name it, I love it. So, and bluegrass just kind of fits into it very nicely, You guys have a big slate, on tap for this year. You've got so much going on. Talk a little bit about some of the things, the highlights that you guys are looking forward to.
Well, I'll tell you, we started off the year, as you mentioned, with the bang, with having that number one CD on the charts. That's huge for us. It's a very competitive industry. There's competitive in a good way. There's so many great bands out there and so much great music being played, and we're very honored to be a part of that. And kicking the year off like that has been great. We're just, as I mentioned, coming back from Orlando, Florida. We did a couple shows in Georgia. One of the highlights for me coming up next week, not even a week's time, we're going to be going back down to Orlando. We got a bluegrass cruise, the Danny Stewart Bluegrass Cruise. All of our families are all coming with us, and that's a big part of being able to do this music is to find the balance in the music and your home life. And so being able to bring our families on something like the Bluegrass Cruise is absolutely paramount for us. So that's going to be a big deal. And we've got some, this year we've got some great festivals coming up. Joe Val, we're playing that in February. That's always that, as you know, a couple of years ago won the event of the year. We're always so pleased to be a part of that. They've got such a great lineup of music. And this year also sees us at Bean Blossom, both the festivals at Bean Blossom, Uncle Pen Days and the regular Bean Blossom Festival, and that that brings in some of the best artists in the industry. You'll be able to listen to those.
Well, you guys, I've looked at your calendar, and you are slam full, for a good piece of time this year, back-to-back dates almost. And I think it's so awesome, especially with the cruise that's coming up, that you can take your family. What an experience for your family to be able to come along with you and to take that in with you, as well as enjoy you performing. And that's another wonderful thing about bluegrass music, is you have that ability that other genres don't often offer sometimes. So it's a great thing, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, it is, and the music itself, everything surrounding the bluegrass music, the fans, is all family-oriented, and that's what makes this such a wonderful thing. I think we're the only bluegrass band in Canada that is playing bluegrass music full-time as our livelihood, feeding our families, and, we're very blessed to be able to do that. And, I want to make mention, too, we're very appreciative of the fact that being from Canada, that we're always welcomed into the United States, playing your music. This is music born and bred in the United States of America, and as Canadians, we always like to tell our listeners we will do our best and make a promise that we'll always treat this music with the respect that it deserves.
Well, I tell you, Rick, for 20-plus years on the bluegrass scene, you guys must be doing something right because, as you said, you've got a #1 album in the country right now. What a way to start off 2014. And you have been so well received by people here in the States and continue to pick up brand new fans every single day and every performance. So I don't have any feeling that you guys are going anywhere anytime soon, which excites me. And I can't wait till you guys get to North Carolina so I can get out and see you live.
You make sure you do that. We'll, I can't off the top of my head cite when we're coming back there, but we've got certainly some dates there this year. So, and we couldn't be happier to see IBMAs move to Raleigh. We were there, of course, this year as part of the IBMAs, and that was absolutely phenomenal. It kind of gave us that old-time feeling back when the IBMAs were held in Owensboro, Kentucky, which I think are some of the best times in bluegrass. But Raleigh really embraced the music, embraced the people, and that is a great thing for the music.
Well, it's huge for our state, but and the other component that I love about it is there are so many localized bluegrass bands here that, for these folks who are not, IBMA yet, or they're doing it because they love it or it's a hobby, they get to experience it firsthand as well. It's a little closer proximity. And so, yeah, it's a really great thing for our state. It's a great thing for the IBMA as well as bluegrass music as a whole. So, we look forward to having everybody back here again this year, and Raleigh has just done a phenomenal job of rolling out the red carpet and welcoming the genre and the IBMA with open arms. And I understand it's going to be here another couple of years, so that's really good for everybody. It's a win-win all the way around.
You're right, and hopefully, if we don't see before then, we'll definitely cross paths and make sure you come up and say howdy to us at the IBMAs if you're able to make it this year.
Oh, definitely. I'm making plans. I'm 40 minutes from Raleigh, so there's no excuse for me not to be there. So definitely plan to get out. Well, Rick, I will not keep you any longer. I know you just got home literally within the hour or so, and I can't thank you enough for taking time to call in this evening and just spend a little time with us, catching us up and talking about what's to come this year. We are so excited for everything you guys are doing, and I really wish you the best of continued success as you go forward this year and beyond.
Well, thank you so much, Don. I really appreciate that and appreciate all the support that you and all the radio DJs give to bluegrass music. It's very healthy right now. It's growing. We've got a lot of young people getting involved in the music, and that is definitely that's important to the music. So thank you so much, and we certainly look forward to meeting you sometime.
Oh, likewise. Give our best to Allan and Gary and Darryl, and God bless you guys, and we'll be back in touch with you again very soon.
Same to you. Take care, Dawn.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We have been speaking with Rick Spinney of the Spinney Brothers, and what a wonderful gentleman. I love their music, and we are going to get to preview, you are going to get to preview a few of their songs off of their latest album, No Borders, in just a few moments. And just a wonderful group. If you have never heard their music, you're in for a real treat. They, like I said earlier, they've not been in the business for 20-plus years for nothing. They have grown in popularity beyond belief. They've traveled all over the world, primarily the United States. They're so appreciative of being able to play here, and the bluegrass community has embraced them. I don't think it matters to anybody. They're from Canada. They make great music. And so if you get a chance, check them out online. Their website is SpinneyBrothers.com, and you can also find them on social media, and I will pull up all their pertinent stuff here directly. You can find them on Facebook at The Spinney Brothers, or you can follow them on Twitter, and it's The Spinney Bros. So, yeah, The Spinney Bros. And Spinney is spelled S-P-I-N-N, 2 N's, E-Y. So if you want to stay up on everything that they're doing, just follow them on social media. Their website has all of their tour dates for this year, and I'm telling you, they're already booked solid, almost to the end of the year. So go check them out, because they may be coming to area near you, and you definitely want to get out and see them, because they are definitely worth seeing. So without further ado, we're going to close our show tonight with a couple of numbers from our guests, the Spinney Brothers, and this is off of their No Borders album. And I do want to play the two songs that have charted and are currently on the charts. The first being Grandpa's Way of Life, the next being I Want My Dog Back, and then it'll be followed by Louisville Woman, and we will close with Big Marshall. And so in that, I just want to extend a huge thank you to Rick Spinney of the Spinney Brothers for being our special guest this evening, and many, many thanks to all of you for tuning in. And if you're brand new to our program, welcome aboard. We're so glad to have you here, and we certainly hope you will be here again. And coming up tomorrow evening on our show, we have a doubleheader show for you. Starting at 6:30 p.m., we have a folk artist we will be bringing to you. She is a folk indie artist. Her name is Nettie Rose, and she will be here, and we'll be playing some of her music, and followed by a North Carolina bluegrass band who has been together since, I think, about 2002. They're called Constant Change, and I'm telling you, they are some kind of smoking hot good. They're going to be here at 8 p.m. Eastern. So Nettie Rose at 6:30 p.m. Eastern and Constant Change at 8 p.m. Eastern. And we look forward to having them both with us and hope that you can be here as well. All right. Thanks so much again for listening, and we're going to close out our show tonight with a couple of Spinney Brother tunes off of their No Borders album. Take care. Have a great night all. God bless.
He drank his coffee from a saucer, rolled his smokes from an old tin can. He could play Sally Gooden on the fiddle. Yeah, he was Grandma's kind of man. Spent 6 days a week behind the plow, turning acres into road. Yeah, he'd even get up early Sunday morning and put on his only Sunday. And I wonder how things got so complicated. You know, it's hard to find the good old bar hose. I'd love to throw computers out the window and go back to Grandpa's way of life. He tried to give up farming, sold electric power door to door. He swore he'd never buy a German auto after he got back in 44. His hands and words were stronger than iron. Yeah, son, you could take that to the bank. And every year when we brought in the harvest, well, Grandpa always knew just who to thank. And I wonder how things got so complicated. You know, it's hard to find a good old random night. I'd love to throw cell phones out the window and go back to Grandpa's way of life. He could fix anything, baling wire or duct tape. He called them God's essential tools. He never had much use for the TV, all except for Walter Cronkite's evening news. He only had an 8th grade education, no diploma hanging just for show. But when it came to teaching me a lesson, he'll always be the smartest man I know. And I wonder how things got so complicated. I'd love to hear his fiddle play tonight. I'd throw my computer out the window and go back to Grandpa's way of life. I'd just go back to my grandpa's way of life. Last night, and this is what I found. My wife was gone, my dog was gone, there was no one around. She took the car and took my dog, I don't know where she's at. I don't care where she went, I want my dog back. I want my dog back, he's faithful, he's true. I want my dog back, I don't know what I'll do. If he gets out and come on home, he knows that I'll be good. Worries me if she might come back to I never understood that girl, but I sure love that dog. He knows where the bones are hid and he can dig them up. He sniffs out the neighborhood for a female he can trap. He's smarter than she is. I want my dog back. I want my dog back. He's faithful, he's true. I want my dog back. I don't know what I'll do. If he gets out of the phone, I'll be. Hurry up, she might come back. Bothers me, what gets to me the worst. She don't care for my old dog, she just wants me to hurt. Now she can come and get the stuff she didn't think back. All I want from her, I want my dog back. If anybody sees my wife, tell her give me a call. I won't even raise my voice, just want my dog is all. I'll make her an offer, there will be no questions asked. She can have it all, I want my dog back. I want my dog back, he is faithful, he is true. I want my dog back, I don't know what I'll do. If he gets out, if I come on home, he knows that I'll be good. The only thing that worries me is she might come back. Yeah, the only thing that worries me is she might come back too. Door and felt the cold chill. Ice was forming on the train, snow was everywhere. It was not as cold to me as your icy stare. This ain't your first, nor will it be your last. They say the practice brings about perfection, and with your natural talent, girl, you surely do learn fast. I'll have to say you really learned your part. The snow up here in Louisville is mighty cold, but it could never be a match to your cold, cold heart. Forming quickly on the railroad track. That one-way ticket told me that you weren't coming back. The porter reached down for your bag, said, may I help you, please? You kindly answered, yes, you can, and you never looked at me. Oh, this ain't your first, nor will it be your last. They say the practice brings about perfection, and with your natural talent, girl, you surely do learn fast. Oh, little woman, I'll have to say you really learned your part. The snow up here in Louisville is mighty cold, but it could never be a match to your cold, cold heart.
You've been listening to Bluegrass Planet Radio. Find us on the web at bluegrassplanetradio.com, on Twitter at Bluegrass Planet, and on Facebook at Bluegrass Planet Radio. Thank you for joining us.